الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh once again to everyone. So inshallah we are starting after all the introduction. Now I would like to give a short introduction of the course inshallah. As you can see the flyer here, Shahana is sharing the flyer of Journey of Light. And our course is Tajweed al-Quran. I'm sure some of you have attended already the yesterday's course, Tadabbur al-Quran, which is the tafsir class. And today, inshallah, we are starting the Tajweed class. So Tajweed class, as all of you have mentioned, mashallah, that you want to learn more and you want to learn to recite Quran properly. So alhamdulillah, and all of us, I myself is a student of Quran, alhamdulillah, and I'm so proud of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the opportunity to learn and I can teach as well, alhamdulillah. So it's a lifelong journey, as Shahana said, we all are learning, alhamdulillah. So inshallah, we are starting and this course every Thursday from 7 to 8. Okay, so what we are going to do in this course, inshallah. So inshallah, in this course, we will learn the basic rules of Tajweed, inshallah. And then we are, inshallah, because as it's a Tajweed course, so practice is very important. If we are not going to practice, then we are not going to apply the rules. So as we are going along and we are learning the rules, side by side, inshallah, we will practice reading as well from the Quran. And what we have focused, our course is designed like we are going to read, practice the last 15 surahs from the Quran, inshallah, from the last, the 30th juz. Inshallah, we will cover the last 15 surahs. And beside that, inshallah, we will also memorize the morning and evening du'as, the azkar. And there's a book, Hisnul Muslim. We will, inshallah, we will share that as well with all the students. So we will memorize the du'as from there, inshallah. Okay, so that's the second thing we are going to do, and then we will also memorize, learn and memorize some masnoon, masnoon du'as as well, regarding the salah, inshallah. And we will try to cover as much as we can, inshallah. So, and if you are, I don't know if you are registered or not, but if you go to our website at duhainstitute.com, you will be able to find all the resources from there. The recordings, after our class, we will upload all the recordings, and you can find the PDF forms, like the books over there. The resources you can find online on our website at duhainstitute.com, inshallah. Okay. So right now we are starting, inshallah, bismillah. So before we start learning start going into the rules of Tajweed, in this class, inshallah, the first introductory class, we will learn about some of the etiquettes of learning Quran, or how to read Quran. So this is the first and the foremost part, how we should, because this is not an ordinary book. This is a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is called as a kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran. Kalam means something that your kalam means the conversation. So this is the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we will learn first how to like what are the etiquettes of the manners when reading the Quran. Okay, so the first point is understanding the origin of the words, which means that we have to understand and realize and feel that what we are reading is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The origin goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second point is presence of the heart while reading. So when we start reading, when we are sitting in front of the Mus'haf, in front of the Quran, with all our heart we have to recite it, we have to read it. So only in that way we can feel the origin of the words, and only in that way we can start, because the next point is pondering and understanding the meaning of the Quran. So if our heart is not present, we are thinking about something else, because nowadays, subhanallah, there are so many distractions that whatever we are doing, we have so many other things that we get distracted very easily. So this is very important, that when we are reading the Quran, the presence of heart is very important. And the third thing is pondering or understanding the meaning of the Quran. This is very good, but since it is not like Arabic is not our language, so a lot of people say that we do not understand what it means, we just read it. So at least we can make an intention and we can start understanding the words slowly. So that is the third point is that the pondering is very important, because why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send us Quran? The purpose of sending the Quran is to guide us. This is a way of life, and if we do not understand what the Quran is telling us, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to teach us, then how are we going to implement it in our lives? How we can ponder on it? So that is why number 3 is the pondering and understanding of the meaning of the Quran. And then individualization. The fourth point is individualization. What does that mean? It means that each and every person, whenever me and whenever you are sitting and you are reciting the Quran, I have to feel that this is meant for me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent these verses for me, for myself. This is for my guidance. This is a light. This is a guidance. This is a manual for my life. So individualization, everybody has to feel that, otherwise we are not going to get the feeling about, sorry, I have to turn it off. Okay, so next point is purity of body and clothes. We have to do complete full wudu, and our clothes, the place we are sitting, should be clean as well. And then seeking refuge from shaitan and reading basmala. Okay, seeking refuge from shaitan is what? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And basmala is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that whenever you read Quran, you start reading Quran, and then you say A'udhu billah and Bismillah. So this is the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to do that, and avoiding cutting off to talk with people. This is often this happens, like with myself, it happens sometimes when I'm reading Quran, my daughter comes running and says something, and then I just stop reading and then start talking to her. Sometimes it happens. So we should try our best to avoid cutting off. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, that it is the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is like as we are talking, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us, we cannot cut off what He is telling us. It is, we have to feel that. So that we should try our maximum best. Then we sit in a place at a quiet corner with full understanding, with presence of heart, and then don't avoid talking to the people. And then the next point is stopping at an ayah of warning and seeking protection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very important. This is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ as well, that whenever we read the ayah and any ayah that comes as a warning, then we should stop at that point and seek protection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how we can do that? If we do not understand the meaning, then how would we know that what we are reading? What kind of ayah is that? So that is why learning Tajweed as well as, understanding, reading the tafsir, learning tafsir is very important as well as grammar, because all of these things help us understand the Quran. So the next thing is humbleness and crying when reading. all the Sahabas, the pious people, when they used to read Quran, they used to read Quran with a very humble, in a humble manner, and they cry when they read the Quran. So this is also recommended. So all these points, these are the manners how we should read the Quran. There's a quote about Imam An-Nawawi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. He said that crying when reading the Quran is a characteristic of those who know Allah and the feelings of the righteous. Reading the Quran is either out loud, in which tajweed is obvious, or silently, in which the reading should be audible to the reader or to those near the reader. So this is the quote of Imam An-Nawawi. And also in the case of looking at the Quran, this is also another thing, a very important thing when we read Quran. In case of looking at the Quran with our eyes and not moving our lips, because inshallah when later we will learn about the makharij. Makharij means how we say the pronounced letter, from which part of our mouth the letter is coming out. That is the makhraj. So when we will learn the makhraj, we will know, inshallah, we will learn how to join our lips, how to move our tongue. So if somebody is just looking in the Quran and then not moving the parts of speech and without pronouncing every letter from the articulation points, then this is not qiraat. This is not qiraat or tilawa. It could possibly be called just looking, but no qiraat. That is why it is recommended that when we read, if we are sitting in a place like a lot of people, just don't read very loud so that we disturb other people or something. But if we are sitting alone, then we can read loud. Or if we are sitting in a gathering, then we can read slowly so that only we can hear it. So it should be audible to the person who is reading. So that is these are the manners of reading Quran. Okay. So far, what we learned is, do you all know about these things? And I am sure, inshallah, that you all try to practice all these things. That when you read Quran, and even if you don't know, if you didn't know before, now we know, alhamdulillah. So now we will, inshallah, try to implement these things and focus. And will inshallah remember all these things that are prescribed. And also why learning tajweed is important is that in Surah Muzammil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Tajweed and tartil is both hand in hand. Tajweed are the rules and tartil is reciting slowly and beautifully. It is called tartil. And how can it be achieved? When we know the tajweed. So when we know the rules of tajweed, then we can recite the Quran with tartil. In Surah Muzammil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا, and recite the Quran slowly and beautifully. And there is another ayah I want to share with you. It says in Surah Baqarah, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Those who have been given the book, the Quran, they recited with all due rights. Who are those people? We are those people. Alhamdulillah, we are blessed to have Quran. We are blessed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, those who have been given the Quran, how do they recite it? How do they read it? They give it due rights. And what are the due rights? Inshallah, we have learned already the manners, how to read the Quran, and later, inshallah, we will learn the rules as well. So tartil and tajweed both are very important. There is another ayah in Surah Al-Isra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقُرْآنًا فَرَقْنَاهُ لِتَقْرَأَهُ عَلَى النَّاسِ عَلَى مُكْثٍ وَنَزَّلْنَاهُ تَنزِيلًا. We have divided this Quran into sections so that you may recite it to the people in a slow and beautiful tone, and we have sent it down in gradual revelations. This is Surah Al-Isra. So this is what Allah Ta'ala is saying, that Allah Ta'ala divide the Quran in different sections so that we can recite it slowly in a beautiful tone. So this is the requirement from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is commanding us to read slowly and in a beautiful tone. And I would like to share some sayings of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam regarding the recitation of Quran. This is there is saying in Bukhari that one who does not recite the Quran in a beautiful tone does not belong to us. This is an authentic hadith from Bukhari. So one who is not reciting in a beautiful tone does not belong to us. Subhanallah. So what is up to us? Now, inshallah, we will try our best. We want to be among the best people. So inshallah, we will recite beautifully with the beautiful tone, inshallah. Okay, now our next topic is before we start reading, it is recommended that as I was reading to you, like I was telling you about the manners of how to read Quran, there was one point that seeking refuge in saying the Basmallah, al-Ista'adha wal Basmallah. The meaning of Ista'adha is asking for refuge or protection when someone is reciting Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. So in Surah Nahl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِذَا قَرَأْتَ الْقُرْآنَ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. This is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that when you read the Quran, seek refuge with Allah from the rejected shaitan. So we say, whenever we start reading Quran, we say Ista'adha, and then we say the Basmallah. Basmallah is called Basmallah, but we usually in a regular way we say Bismillah, like Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And whenever we take a pause, like we stop for something, and if we are reading a surah and we finish the surah and we start a new surah, then either we say A'udhu Billah or Bismillah. One is fine, one is enough. So we can just only say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And all of you know that how many in the Quran, how many surahs? All of you. I'm sure all of you must know. Since I cannot see the chat, I don't know if you're writing anything, but there are 114 surahs, alhamdulillah. And one of the surah is that does not start with the Bismillah, and that is Surah Tawbah. So that is the surah that does not start with Bismillah. And wallahu alam, the scholars, different scholars have different opinions, but most of them they say that something, if we don't know, we should not go into the details. The Prophet ﷺ taught the Sahaba, taught us how to recite it, so we recite it like that. So we don't have to, just like huruf-e muqatta'at, like there are some letters, alif lam mim, like Surah Baqarah starts with alif lam mim. So we don't know, we don't read it as a word. All the letters, we read them separately, and this is the way it should be read. So we do not go into the questioning like why it happens. No, this is the way we have been taught. So inshallah, so we did it like that, inshallah. I hope everybody is okay so far. So inshallah, Maryam and Mahjabeen, Fariha, Salma, all of you, inshallah, you are with me. So from now on, we will read the Quran. We will try our best to read the Quran the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear from us. The way Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam read it and he taught us, inshallah, we will try our best. We have just 15 minutes left, yeah. So I will not go into I will not start the rules today because we have very less time left. Just the introduction I gave, the manners we have learned so far, alhamdulillah. Another thing I would like to share with you today, inshallah, before the next class, inshallah, bismillah, I will try to fix my computer, inshallah, so next time we won't have this problem. And ahead of time, inshallah, I will send my slides to Shahana, so that if I have any trouble, she will share the slides, inshallah. Okay, another thing I would like to share with you all today is that when we learn the Tajweed, when we learn how to say the letter properly, the reason is that if we do not say the letters properly, we tend to make mistakes. We can make mistakes, and on purpose. It's not on purpose because we don't know the rules. That's why we make mistakes. So that's why we have to learn the proper Tajweed. An example I would like to give is that there are three, like as I was saying, that we learn the Tajweed because we want to read the Quran as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear from us. And we don't want to make mistakes in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we make mistakes, there are two kinds of mistakes. Lahne jali and lahne khafi. Lahan means mistake and jali means a big mistake, the haram mistakes. So there are two kinds of mistakes when we recite the Quran. So first is the lahne jali, the major mistakes, the haram mistakes. So there are three kinds of major mistakes that people often make. Number one is the mistake of makharij. What is a makharij? I told you in the beginning. The place, the part of speech we use, with the place where we say the letter from. The letter comes out from that place. We use those parts of our mouth or of our throat. That thing, if we make mistake, if we don't say it properly, the right word, letter does not come out. So that is the point where we make mistake and we change the meaning of the Quran. The lahne jali, what I'm mentioning, the haram mistakes, when we do those mistakes, we change the meaning of the Quran, and we are not supposed to change the meaning of the Quran. So that is why our first effort will be, inshallah, not to make any haram mistakes, the lahne jali. So the first one I told you is the mistake of makharij. Makharij means, the example is like, there is a word in Quran, qalb, that starts with the letter qaf. It's a heavy letter and it comes from the back of the tongue. So we say qalb. But people, if they don't make, and if they don't pay attention, some people say kalb. Okay, they don't make it heavy, and then they don't pronounce from the proper place. So they make mistake. They say kalb. So qalb means heart, and kalb means dog. So that's a way, like, totally different meaning. So if we say this word, we change the meaning. Another example is that alim. It starts with the letter ain. So a lot of time, like, people have trouble making sound of ain. Saying ain is a very hard, but it always, alhamdulillah, it comes with practice. So alim means knowledgeable. And there's another word that is similar to it, is alim, that starts with alif, and that means painful. So if we mix up those words, we make the makharij mistake. What we have done, we have changed the meaning. So that is how we have to avoid the lahne jali, the makharij mistake. Number two, what is the second kind of mistake? Second kind of mistake is the haraka mistake. Haraka, what are the harakas? The vowels, like fatha, kasra, dhamma. In I don't know if some of you from Pakistan or back, they say in Urdu, ze zabar pesh. So a lot of people say, when I teach Quran to people, like ladies especially, they say we have learned it's ze zabar pesh. What is fatha, kasra, dhamma? It's the same thing, fatha, kasra, dhamma. If we replace the fatha with the dhamma, then it is another, because Arabic is a language that if we move the word letter, or if we move the haraka, it makes a big difference. When, inshallah, if you're learning grammar, that you know what I'm talking about. So changing the haraka makes a big difference. So if we change the fatha, kasra, dhamma, it again changes the meaning of Quran. So the second type of mistake is the mistake of haraka. And the third type of mistake is the mistake of mud letters. Mud letters, if some of you might know, but just to simplify, that if we are stretching a letter, if we are stretching a word, then it is there. But yeah, okay. So if we are not supposed to stretch a letter, and if we stretch it by accident, or we are reading very fast and we stretch a letter, then we again is stretching the letter or not stretching a letter. It again makes a like change of the meaning of the word. For suppose the very common surah in the Quran, like a lot of time, like people, like it's a the short surah, Inna a'waynaka al-kawthar. Okay, the first word is inna. We are supposed to stretch it 2 counts. Inna. Okay, but sometimes people, what do? They read it very quickly. They say, Inna atayna kal kawsar. Okay? So they did not stretch inna. So that is another mistake. It changes the meaning of the Quran. So the three types of mistakes that are lehne jali, that are haram mistakes, we should avoid are the makharij mistake, number 2 haraka mistake, and number 3 is the stretching mistake, which is called when we will learn tajweed, it is called the mad letters. Alif, mad, waw, mad, and ya mad. So this is the main lehne jali. Now we will come to lehne khafi. Khafi means small mistakes, like very minor mistakes, which if we do, then it does not change the meaning of the Quran, but it's just for like beautification or just for reciting. But since we have learned in the beginning that reading with tartil is recommended, and it is highly recommended, so we should also inshallah try not to make the lehne khafi. And what are the lehne khafi? Like when we stretch the mad letters, like there is a mad that we are supposed to stretch 4 counts, then we don't stretch it, then it's fine. It's not a major mistake. If we do not do ghunna or ikhfa, we are not doing ikhfa 2 counts, then it's okay. If you cannot stretch it 4 counts, the mad letter, the connected mad or the separated mad, then it's fine. But we should try, as we are learning, as we are students of Quran and we are learning tajweed, then it is necessary that we should avoid both kinds of mistakes, lehne jali and lehne khafi, inshallah bi'idhnillah. So these are the topics that I wanted to cover today, and inshallah from next week we will start memorizing the du'as as well, and inshallah we will learn the tajweed rules as well. So if any of you has any questions, Shahana, please let me know if anybody is writing anything, if they are okay so far, whatever I told, if it's easy for them to understand. Am I going fast, or like is they are okay?
Yeah, and Vishal is writing, will we have an oral test on this later on?
Inshallah, when we will have exams, as I told you in the beginning, that we will cover the last 15 surahs of Quran. So as you will read with me in the class, when I will explain the rules and you will read as well. So when we will have exams, inshallah, so we will have oral exam as well, inshallah. Because otherwise, what's the point? Because if we are learning just theory and just the rules and we are not applying it, then it means something is lacking, like if you're not understanding. So I have to examine, like I have to see if you're reading okay, you are getting all the rules or not, inshallah. Is that okay?
All right, so Q&A session is also on. I'm gonna open your mic, Zahida, so you can talk.
Assalamu alaikum. I was just wanted to ask, because I was looking for the recorded session that we had yesterday, but I couldn't find it. There were other recorded programs that I got to, and they took me to YouTube, but I couldn't find the one yesterday. So can you please let me know under what category, what name can we find the recording for both of our classes?
On main website, page Journey of the Light, so you can find recordings over there too. Right, I think we should, Saima, the time is over now.
It's 8 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock.
Alhamdulillah. I would like to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our shortcomings, and inshallah may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make easy for everybody, for me, for all of you in this journey, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us learn the Quran and implement it in our lives. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakallahu khairan kathira. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.